All right, so why you really shouldn't worry too much, especially about your substats and you know your crit rolls. This talk's primarily going to talk about crit rolls, because it's the one that seems to be most important to most people when deciding to keep or discard their rolls, right? The thing that sort of dictates on whether or not you trash an item or you keep an item is usually it's the crit rolls. You get something, it doesn't have a good crit rate, crit damage setup, so I'm gonna throw it away, or I'm just gonna burn it into another item, right? Because you want that perfect 1:2 ratio, right? Here's why you shouldn't worry about it. I was browsing the internet, obviously, as you do. You would browse the internet, and I stumbled upon this interesting information. All right, so this is the information. I actually found it on GameRant. So there's a Genshin Impact player that proves why the popular 1:2 crit rate ratio isn't really that important. And don't get it wrong, it is actually important. It's just not as important as you think. Okay, so as we all know, the idea is to get 1:2 ratios, right? So if you have 1 crit rate, you need 2 crit damage. So if you got 50% crit rate, you get 100% crit damage. Because having too much crit rate and having too low crit damage means that you crit a lot, but the damages are low. Having too much crit damage but low crit rate means your crits are big, are huge, but less often. So there's a bit of a balance that needs to happen, right? Okay, so according to this Genshin Impact player, and he actually posted it on Reddit. This is his Reddit post. Why the 1-2 crit rate doesn't matter too much. Basically, I'm not a math guy. Okay, so there's some math involved. There's even graphs. But basically, just to dumb it down or condense the information, it's that in a scenario where the damage is calculated, wherein 100% damage is the perfect 1:2 ratio, which is ideally 70-140. So 70 crit rate, 140 crit damage, or 50 crit rate, 100 crit damage. The damage, let's say for those, is 100%. Okay, if you get, according to what they write here, is that if you get 1:3, like let's say your roll is 60% crit rate and 180% crit damage, you get 98% damage. So that's just a 2% discrepancy from perfect. If we go even lower, right, let's say you have 55% crit rate and 195 crit damage, you get 96% damage. That's a 4% deviation from perfect. And let's say you got it really bad, really bad. You only have 30% crit rate, 35% crit rate to 230% crit damage. So low crit rate, high crit damage. That's 85% damage. So you see, the damage difference isn't really that large for it to be too important, because as long as you're somewhat close to 1:2 or you're somewhat close to 1:3, you're basically losing nothing. Now, even the way MiHoYo is the way HoYoverse rather is directing the game, there are characters that play completely differently from the crit scenarios, right? You have someone like Kokomi, basically doesn't crit, right? But she's considered one of the best healers and can actually hyper carry, as demonstrated in my Hydro team, wherein I run triple Hydro and a Kazuha. She can actually hyper carry, and she doesn't even have crit. You have characters like Kazuha who don't even need crit. The recommended Kazuha build right now is basically just pure EM. So you shouldn't really worry too much about getting those perfect substat rolls. Although they're ideal, I would suggest that you have more fun and use more characters instead.